You're watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass. This is Craig Welch. And today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to go over my top 10 90s rock albums of all time.
Yeah!
Alright, so let's get into it. Number 10. It's a little record by Stone Temple Pilots. It's called Core. Right here. Man, I put this in my car and it starts out with that song that's like, I am smelling like a rose that somebody gave me because I'm dead and blowed.
I know this song.
Yeah, it's not just the hits. The beat, the B-sides or whatever. That's what seals the deal for me if the songs that weren't hits are really awesome. So coming in at number 9, Korn's debut album.
Yeah!
This one has the one that starts out and he's like, are you ready? You know what I mean? So this album will always hold a place in my heart as like when I was in high school. This album, as soon as I hear it, it just takes me back to the 90s, specifically 1999, 98, 99. It's Marilyn Manson, Mechanical Animals. Did you know that there's little sections in here? They look just like a bunch of stuff printed all over, like just, I don't know, gibberish. But if you hold it underneath here, it's actually, you can read it.
Whoa!
This is sort of it's one album and then it's 2 albums because you flip it over and it's a second Omega and the Mechanical Animals.
So it's a double album?
It's kind of like a double album, yeah.
Number 8?
Yep. And there's the big thing about this album is really the album that came out right before this one. Did you remember Antichrist Superstar?
Yeah, so let's got into that album.
Yeah, and I did too. I remember seeing that in school.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, what is that? He's got people hooked up to his Johnson or something. We really didn't know, is this really the Antichrist? I mean, it was just a different time, It could have been, we don't know. But I always thought, how is he possibly going to follow that up? I mean, unless the world ends, how are you going to follow up being the Antichrist and bringing about Armageddon? And he did it by coming back as an alien with big boobs. So you said what?
I said I'm digging what you dig, man. Yeah, I dig what you dig. This is a great list.
Thank you. He digs what I dig. You're probably digging what I dig. And if you don't dig what I dig, I don't dig that. So,
dig it.
Life's a garden, dig it.
Yeah.
90s Kids Are Us is the Etsy store where you can get all original Sam Bass designs. Get posters and t-shirts that are one of a kind from a 90s kid to you.
Alright, so number 7 on the list, Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish.
Yeah, cool. Yes, I am a fan of Limp Bizkit.
They are pretty cool. And this is the one that had some of their biggest hits. Editor's note here. This did come out in the year 2000, but I've always said 89 and 2000 were the buffer years to the 90s. A lot of stuff came out in 89, like Nirvana's debut, that set the tone. And some people kind of wrapped up their 90s run in 2000. Alright, so number 6 on this list. I love The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails. You like that one?
Yeah, I dig this album a lot.
Awesome. This is sort of negative in a good way. It takes you down into that place of darkness and you kind of, get that out of your system with something like this. Now, we're getting into the top 5. You got any predictions?
Nirvana's in there. Bet the Toadies are in there.
Okay.
Probably not Stabbing Westward. I'm going to be upset if Stabbing Westward's in there.
They're not going to be in there, I can tell you now.
I'm curious.
Oh, damn it, I should have kept that a secret.
I'm curious.
Maybe Stabbing Westward is in there. I don't know.
My band sucks.
They've unofficially been just the band that we bash here on 90s Rock in 9 minutes.
This episode is sponsored by Rainbows and Smiles. Check out our Etsy store where you can find one-of-a-kind products, like our hair tinsel extensions. Looking to add some fun hair sparkle to your next event? We have over 15 color choices to match your look.
90s Rock in 9 minutes, top 5 now of my top 10. This record, it honestly is almost like holy to me. It's Deftones, The White Pony.
Yeah.
You dig that
I
one?
dig Deftones.
There's two versions of this CD. I don't know if you know this. But,
Didn't know that.
well, the first version has like a silver, kind of chrome silver cover. And the pony's like real small in the bottom. And it doesn't have this first track. It's called Back to School. And what happened was the label wanted them to come up with another hit. So they just threw together like a rap rock hit to just show how easy it was to make a song like that. And it did become a hit. And so they re-released the album with that as the first track. And I think it's better because they sort of like ripped off the last track on here to make the first track. Like they have the same chorus, but it's a lot faster. And I think it, it kind of like bookends the album. And this had, remember that song Change in the House of Fly? I watched it change. That shit was blowing our nuts off.
For sure.
Fourth album, Rage Against the Machine, The Battle of Los Angeles. Yeah. This one is another one where like the first three tracks, Testify, Guerrilla Radio, Calm Like a Bomb, all freaking hits.
So
And
this
then,
album set you off and got you like in a rage, sort of?
well, it wasn't a rage, but I felt like I could like do anything I wanted to. Like I was on PCP and I could fly, you know. Awesome. It actually did. It got Artist of the Year and Album of the Year from Rolling Stone and Band of the Year from Spin and #1 Album of the Year by Time Magazine. And that was,
Impressive.
it was 1999. All right, now we're in the top three.
Yo, number 3. Oh, wow.
Number 3, I guarantee you, not a lot of people would have suspected this. It just takes you right to the zone. It never lets up. It's Alice in Chains' self-titled album. The one with the sad puppy dog on the front. They were going to call it Tripod because it's got a 3-legged dog on the top.
Oh, man.
But what do you think of this packaging?
Great packaging.
Yeah, this is my favorite packaging of any album.
Number 2, hit it.
You know what? Let's just come right out with it. It's Mad Season, Above.
Mad Season?
Yeah,
There's a band?
they are, yes. Have you never heard of this?
Never heard of Mad Season. Wow. Number 2. Right on.
So, on the back, do you recognize that guy?
Oh. This is in Alice in Chains, right?
Right. That's the thing about this album, is this is a super group, basically. You had the lead singer of Alice in Chains, Lane Staley. You had Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. Basically, the guitar player, Mike McCready, he was in rehab, and he met the bass player. And when they got out, they were like, let's form a group. And I think they were mostly sober for this. So it's an album of like dudes that needed to get sober, and they did, and came out with a masterpiece. And when I put this album on, it just takes me to this place that's like really calm and relaxed. And sometimes I like doze off to it, which is funny because it's like it was made by sober guys. But when you put it on, it's almost like a drug, like a sleeping pill. But not because it's boring. It's just, you just have to hear it. Yeah. And it helps me out, keeps me calm, cool, and collected. So #1, what do you think it is?
Nirvana.
Nirvana's Nevermind takes the top spot. For an in-depth review on the album, be sure to check out episode 3 of 90s Rock in 9 minutes.
All right, so what were you saying?
I said, man, that's quite a list. Your top 10 is really cool, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, do yourself a favor. Buy this album. Do yourself another favor. Listen to it. I'm Sam Bass. This is Craig Welch. You've been watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes with my top 10 albums. Be sure
To like and subscribe.
Ooh.
You got potatoes and Gatorade.
I know, and I didn't eat those potatoes. Are they still?
You're still here?
All right, is this still recording?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's double check and make
Look
sure.
at you.
Thank you.
Man.
He's spoiled.